ABC Sports.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford from New York. Happy you're with us, and we're going to begin our day with the Professional Bowlers Tour in just a moment. Then at 4:30 Eastern Time on ABC's Wide World of Sports, WBA World Middleweight Champion Mike McCallum defends his crown against the #1 ranked contender, Michael Watson. You'll see it live from London. Plus, the Bluegrass Stakes featuring another top Kentucky Derby contender, Summer Squall, also live from Lexington, Kentucky. But right now, let's begin our day with the Showboat Atlantic City Open.
ABC Sports presents live in its 29th season, a Professional Bowlers Tour. Today from Atlantic City, it's a $150,000 Showboat Atlantic City Open. In our first game, Hugh Miller of Seattle needs to win 4 games today to capture his 5th title. His opponent won back-to-back championships this winter. From Mayfield Heights, Ohio, Jim Pinsack. That winner will face our 3rd-seeded player, 4-time PBA champion Dave Ferraro of Kingston, New York. In the semifinal game, we'll see a 3-time finalist this year, Tony Westlake of Edmond, Oklahoma. And our tournament leader is looking for his first career victory from Columbus, Ohio, Purvis Granger. And that's our field of 5 for today's Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. The Professional Bowlers Tour has come to the famous boardwalk of Atlantic City, right by the Atlantic Ocean, and so is the Showboat Hotel and Casino. We're rolling along the boardwalk, this rolling chair propelled by my friend Juan. For centuries, people from all walks of life have come here for rest and relaxation, and to breathe in the wonderful sea air. Hello again, I'm Chris Schenkel. Things have changed a little bit in recent years down here. There's a lot of action in the form of casinos. Well, this is the 4th year that we've come to this South New Jersey city for professional bowling. In fact, the finals are about to begin, so let's go inside the Showboat Hotel to the lanes and my colleague Nelson Burton Jr.
Thank you, Chris. It looks a little bit cold out there with the Atlantic Ocean as a backdrop, but just about 200 yards away from the Atlantic Ocean in the hotel, casino, and lanes, we've had a packed crowd here all week long at the Showboat. And it's no different today, as we're only just a few minutes away from the opening match. Now today at the Showboat, we have a couple of special features. Number 1, we're bowling on synthetic lanes for the only time during the 16-week winter tour on ABC. And number 2, we're going to do the bowling tip of the week live for the first time in 15 years, so it should be a lot of fun. And with me in the announce booth is one of the greatest players of all time, Mark Roth. And Mark, we haven't seen much about you or with you lately, so what have you been doing?
I've had some wrist problems, and I've just about cured them up, and I'm starting to bowl well, and I made the finals this week, so maybe in the next 2 weeks I'll be out there bowling.
Mark, you had a chance to bowl all 42 games here. Can you pick a winner for us on these synthetic lanes?
Well, my daughter picked a winner. I bowl with Purvis Granger, and she knows I like the Rangers, and she said, go Ranger. And she likes him, and I have a choice with Purvis or Tony Westlake. Today, it looks like the player who could go down and straight will have a better shot. All
right, Mark, let's take a look at the championship lanes and see how the 4 players on the right are playing the lanes and the 1 lefty. First place, there's Oil, 45 feet down the lane. And there's what we call a little bit of out of bounds or a hard area. There's Oil all on the first 5 boards on the right and the first 8 boards on the left. If you throw a ball out in that area, it's just will slide right off towards the channel. Then it's dry the last 15 feet. The left-hander, Hugh Miller, is playing right around the 3rd arrow, pretty straight and hard into the 1-2. Pensek, who's won 11 straight matches, the hooker over the 3rd arrow. The other 3 right-handers right down the 2nd arrow into the 1-3, Chris. A lot of money at stake here in the championship round.
Yes, we have a total of $150,000, 28 to the victor, 14-5 runner-up, 85, 7, and 6. Now there's a hushness over this huge crowd because they sense that this first match is about to get underway. The only left-hander in the field. There were 29 at the start. Hugh Miller was the only one in the final 24. And here he is. Quickly going to the pocket. Good move on the approach, Bo, and that ball had some tempo.
Chris, you're right, the only left-hander, and he's throwing a lot of speed, keeping the ball right on line. I think that Jim Pensek, who puts 11 straight singles victories on the line right here in this match, is going to have a tough time. The crankers, the power players, really struggled yesterday, and it looks tough for them again today.
And the professional zone national champion, winning it recently in Toledo, Jim Pensek of Mayfield Heights, Ohio.
Pensek with that 5-step power delivery, high backswing, wrist cupped, strong pivot step, then a tremendous wrist action and follow through at the bottom of the shot. Just rips the rack on his opening toss.
11th television appearance, 3rd this year. From late last year, he's won 11 games, no losses on TV. Good double by the Buckeye. Now from Seattle, Washington, as you remember, Hugh Miller opened with a strike. Interesting guy. 33 years old. Last title 6 years ago. Well, the match remains even through 2 frames. The Showboat Lanes in Atlantic City.
Hugh Miller with a form similar to what we're going to see in the top 3 righties. The short backswing, then the ball under control, right over that 3rd arrow, not much hook, gets it in the 1-2, has the head pin do the damage on the 5, 6, and 10 pins. The match is even after 2.
Just finishing behind Hugh Miller was Amleto Monicelli in 6th. Our sound effects behind the picture really told the story here. A knowledgeable crowd really eyeing and oohing on that tough break.
Looked like a pretty good hit, but he has to get the ball over to the 6-pin area, drive that 6 over into the 7. Tough shot for a lefty. It's a little easier for a righty.
Speaking of lefties, after that open frame by Hugh, Mike Albee, the defending champion, withdrew on Wednesday. Still having problems with the turf toe. Now Pensek, double working, leading by 14. We asked Jim Pensek about his bowling for this year.
Well, my goals that I set for myself this year was just become more consistent, make $100,000, and win some more titles. With my back-to-back wins earlier in the year and another opportunity today, I'm just looking to just improve and be more consistent out here on tour.
Leaving the 10 pin, going into the 4th frame, leading by 24, Jim Pensek, who won both of his titles this year in his home state of Ohio.
Pensek switching to a low surface friction bowling ball to go across lane. Remember, there's oil on the outside 5 boards on the right, so if he swings it wide and tries to hook into the 10 pin, most likely it'll slide off in the channel.
So the Burley Pro has marked with a spare in the 4th frame here in Atlantic City. He leads by 23. We'll be back.
Can we interest you in a better hand soap?
Not me, I can't cope. I don't need no lava soap, no. Ladies' hands don't get that dirty. I don't need no lava soap.
Regular soap won't always work, but lava with pumice will. Paint, grease, dirt, whatever. Lava's better. Interested?
Not particularly, no. I don't need no lava soap, no. Children's hands don't get that dirty. No, no, no.
Lava. But don't try to cope without it, soap.
Own a foreign car, Midas has the right brake parts in stock for practically every foreign car. And our brake technicians are trained experts, so we do the job right and right away. For foreign car brakes, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
I use pressure-treated lumber and still have expensive water damage. Why?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's Water Seal. It penetrates to protect wood, brick, and concrete from water damage. Thompson's the first name in lasting protection.
The Atlantic Ocean is gentle today. Ever-expanding Atlantic City, the boardwalk, and Donald J. Trump's Taj Mahal, and right next door, the Showboat, where our competition is taking place for the 4th consecutive year. In our first match, Hugh Miller is bowling Jim Pensack. Pensack leading by 23. Miller after an open frame. Good rebound. Good shot. Earlier we asked Hugh Miller, being the only left-hander in the final 5, what did he do to get here?
Well, Bo, this week the lanes here at Showboat were very dry on the synthetic lanes, and I have the ability to throw the ball very hard and very straight, a more contemporary style, whereas the other records on the tour like to hook the ball a little more. Therefore, I feel I had a little better shot to the pocket this week.
And he's proving it again here, having doubled now, cutting Pensack's lead to 13.
Overhead shot of Pensack's deep inside line, plays the big hook.
Jim Pensack.
Coming right into your living room, the ball swinging out to about the 8th board, the sharp break, and just perfect hit. 1, 3, 5, and 8, 9, all taken out by the bowling ball. Pensack leads by 13 through 5.
3 titles, winning his first last year at Green Bay, and then 2 this year. That ball really did nothing.
You're right, Chris. That's what the players said. There's oil out on the last 5 boards on the right. The players called an OB. Now watch this ball. He gets it out to about the 5th board, and then he hits that low friction surface out there. There's a tremendous amount of lubricity on the last 5 boards on the right. That's the danger for the big hook ball player like Pensack, and that's the reason that the top 4 players are all down and in players. They're not playing out to that area.
Beautiful job at marking with a spare in the 6th frame of our very first game. The winner of this match, Miller and Pensack, will go against Dave Ferrara.
Almost doesn't make the 1, 3, 5, 8 there. The head pin does the work as it comes back and hits, say, the 1, 2, 5, 8.
And Hugh has problems just cutting through, and a difficult split coming up.
Well, Hugh Miller sends the ball out, and the last 8 boards on the left are oiled very heavily, and he hits that 8th board, and the ball just sails by, and he leaves the 1, 3, 7, 9 washout. Has to get the ball to the right side of the head pin, have the head pin take out the 7, let the ball do the rest of the work.
And for Hugh Miller, it's his 2nd open frame of this very first game, 110 through 6, now trailing by 29 points.
Hugh Miller, who had 6 straight TV victories, his first 6 appearances, only missed 1 spare in those 6 appearances. And since then, 1985, he had a lot of trouble with open frames in the championship round. He's only been 3 and 7. So the value of marking in the in-between frames, if you get the strikes, you must still make the spares.
So the 2-time winner of the Quaker State Open in Grand Prairie, Texas, has bounced back 8th frame with a strike. More of this first game from Atlantic City after this.
There's something new coming to you from Budweiser. Something completely new. It's completely different and completely refreshing. Introducing Bud Dry. It's cold filtered for smooth draft taste and dry brewed for no aftertaste. So if you're looking for smooth draft taste and no aftertaste, try Bud Dry.
I know about little lawns.
Little lawns.
Big lawns.
Big lawns?
Real big lawns.
This top-quality lightweight pruner is just $3.88. Simple Green all-purpose cleaner is $5.49.
Want to know any more? Ask Ace.
Let me tell you.
Barbasol Gel gives you a super close shave like the other gel, but at a great Barbasol price.
Your Barbasol Gel, son. Your change, son.
Barbasol Gel. No wonder it appeals to the rich.
WBA middleweight champ Mike McCallum meets top contender Michael Watson, plus the Bluegrass Stakes. All live next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Two hard-punching middleweights, 62 total bouts, 50 knockouts. Jim Pinsack trying to knock out Hugh Miller here in our first game with the bowling ball. Leads by 29. Spare-up shooting in the 7th frame. Okay, let's join Bo Burton.
Thank you, Chris. With me, Dave Ferraro. Dave, Pinsack looks like he's on his way to win his 12th straight game, but he's playing the big hook on lanes I don't think that particular shot will work on. What's your game plan?
Well, I think I'm going to play him similar to the way I played him all week. I'm going to take the direct route, and hopefully I'll knock out the corner pin. It's pretty tough to carry here this week.
David, I think you got the right idea. If Pinsack happens to get by this match, I think he'll end his streak at 12. Chris, back to you.
From the Ferraro bowling family, here's Pinsack. Now Jim Pinsack has taken a 39-pin lead in this first game over Hugh Miller. Miller, trying to end a drought, hasn't won since, well, 1984. Grand Prairie, Texas. All but the 6-pin on the right lane. Hugh a little baffled at this point, having an erratic first game, having finished 5th in this field of 160. Spare in the 9th. Next week we go to the Hartford area, to Windsor Locks, Connecticut, for the Greater Hartford Open. Ron Palumbi promises to be there. Was recently crowned United States Open champion. Hugh Miller, who had planned not to bowl in the East but missed a couple of tournaments early because of shoulder and arm injury, will be there as well.
Hugh strikes in the foundation 9th frame going at a 190 pace, has a potential 210. Pinsack right now going at a 229 pace. And what I mean by pace, I'm just figuring they'll get spare strike the rest of the game, 20 each frame. So projected, Pinsack's on a 229 pace. He needs 2 marks to win his 12th consecutive match.
There's one of them. As we look at his wife, Liz, who has come in for each of his 3 telecasts this year, and the first 2 very worthwhile, 2 victories. And by the way, speaking of coming in, don't go away, stay in, because Bo Burton's Tip of the Week today will be live. Not taped, live.
It's going to be fun. Pinsack, a potential 259.
All but the 7.
Pinsack with the spare, but he ran the 238 zone. Hugh Miller, who bowled quite well, had that 1 bad break in the 3rd frame, has a potential 210.
So with Jim Pinsack short of victory here in our first match, he'll go against Dave Ferraro. We'll be back after a word from our local stations.
Now, for every time life turns up the heat,
I told you we wouldn't know anybody.
a new kind of antiperspirant, Degree.
Total strangers.
I see that.
New Degree is body heat activated. Every time your body heat rises, Degree kicks in with extra protection. Precisely when you need it most, Degree has you covered.
It's about time.
New Degree protects you most when you need it most.
Stunning beauty, thrilling action, the greatest moments in horse racing history, the jewels of the Triple Crown. A brand new video cassette written and narrated by Jim McKay. and packed with rare and exclusive footage. The story of the Triple Crown, told through the 11 horses who have won it. You can now own the jewels of the Triple Crown for only $19.98 plus $3 shipping and handling. To order your video, call 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
To celebrate Earth Day 1990, ABC News will examine our progress in environmental conservation around the country. Watch Peter Jennings on World News Tonight next week.
That's a nice Simplicity you got there. How old is it?
29.
Wow, and it still runs.
So?
You ever give you any trouble?
Backed the car into it in 66.
Any damage?
Rear bumper on the car.
How about major service?
Every year, change the oil.
Hey, that's good.
I'm 68. I've never had my oil changed.
There's just no substitute for simplicity.
Thursday, you saw the difference if you watched 27 News. Only 27 News had a special investigative report on the controversial grand jury probe. While other stations just ran wire service reports, 27 News was out getting exclusive interviews.
I'm told that Barr traveled to D.C. earlier this week with his attorney.
Only 27 News explained the investigation and what's likely to happen next. See the difference on Emmy Award-winning 27 News.
WHTM TV 27, Harrisburg.
The Pro Bowlers Tour, brought to you by the Upjohn Company. If you're concerned about hair loss, see your doctor. By Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by AARP, making a difference.
With 8 strikes, Jim Pensack continues his winning ways here on ABC Television. 238 to Hugh Miller's 209. Pensack's next opponent, this 30-year-old professional champion, Dave Ferraro. Let's go up close and personal. Dave Ferraro. Bowling in the Ferraros of Kingston, New York have always been a local tradition. John Ferraro opened his first bowling center in 1936. Son Jack continues the business today. He co-owns the center with son David, who doubles as a successful professional bowler.
I started bowling when I was 2 because my family was in the business. And I bowled the junior leagues. I turned to the men's leagues when I was 15. And I decided to turn pro when I was 20. And actually, it was my father's decision. He kind of persuaded me and my brother to both get our cards.
When off tour, David reports to work rain or shine, either in mid-city lanes or with brother Steve at Dutchess Bowl in nearby Beacon, New York. Despite over $500,000 in career tour earnings, David still works hard. It is this work ethic, along with the Ferraro's bowling tradition and family togetherness, that David will instill in his children, beginning with son John David, who already, obviously, as you can see, loves the game of bowling.
I plan to bowl probably 3 or 4 more years. Things have been going quite well lately, and I guess that depends on how long I'm going to keep bowling, but we plan to have another child maybe in a year or 2, and after that I probably want to stay home and spend some time with the family.
And of course, Mom Gloria, Dave Ferraro's wife, and look at that pride showing on Ferraro's face after seeing that delightful youngster, John David. Here's a big fellow, Jim Pensack. First shot, left lane. Back in the groove, Jim Pensack, PBA national champion.
Back in the groove it is. Jim Pensack, who had 238 his first game, has won 12 consecutive singles games on television. But he's got as tough an opponent as he'll see all day long in Dave Ferraro.
With shots like that, 4-time champion on television last year 6 times, and without a victory earned $137,000.
A quick 5-step delivery, short backswing, good wrist action, good loft, a little stiff-legged at the foul line. Look at that arm going directly towards the target, the big loft on the dry lanes over the foul line. Ferraro, one of the great clutch players, one of the great all-around players on the tour. He can hit all conditions.
Wobbly 7 on the left lane for Ferraro, Kingston, New York.
David sends the ball into the 1-3 zone. The 5-pin will be driven over towards the 7, but it goes just in front of it. The 4 doesn't give him any help.
Last year, second 5 times. Previous year, he won twice. Earned over $150,000, Dave Ferraro. And now, Jim Pensack, whose current earnings are $96,865, put him second behind Bonicelli. Double for Pensack. Let's take a look at the Budweiser Kingpin standing. 125 points for first and so on down the line. Points awarded to the winner, bonus for being the tournament leader. And through 5, Bonicelli in the lead, Voss, Warren, Lawrence, and Pensack. Pensack today a chance to move into second in the Budweiser Kingpin standings. Here he is, third frame, double up. Three in a row.
Boy, he just has it all going. He is solid in the pocket in the first frame, just rips the rack in the second. Here in the third frame, he gets the wall shot. He's got everything going, tremendous confidence, and nobody can deny that record of 12 straight victories. Don't count out Dave Ferraro. Ferraro, who has had wrist problems, he has it all wrapped with a wrapping and a steel brace in there to keep it from being snapped again.
So that was a strike in the third frame. A man that's been very successful in the past. We asked the reasons for a minor slump this year.
Well, obviously, he didn't have too much to say about his slump. He's not in a slump. He made the top 24 the first 5 out of 6 weeks, and Dave Ferraro with a strike here can put a little pressure on Pensack. Fourth frame.
A double for Ferraro, and trails now by only 10. You'll hear from him a little later, as we'll be back with more.
Hey, little guy, you're beginning to look a lot like your daddy. Pretty soon you're going to be growing hair. I'm starting to lose mine. So I just did something lots of us big guys are doing. I went to the doctor. He said there are things that can help. Hey, just because we start out bald doesn't mean we have to end up that way.
Doctors have treatment programs that work. So see your doctor or call this number. Life's full of simple pleasures, like the comfort of Levi's jeans. Or had you forgotten?
Bowling's top money winners go for the Capitol in Connecticut at the $140,000 Greater Hartford Open next Saturday on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour.
That's right, next Saturday, our 15th stop on the tour. Part of the casino here at the Showboat, the size of a football field. Action everywhere. There's action in the lanes here on the second floor of the Showboat. 60 lanes. Beautiful facility. Vice President of Sports here, Al Huff, and his staff, including 13-time champion Billy Allen, done a great job hosting the 160 pros that started earlier in the week. Pensack, who finished fourth, he won the first match, 238 to 209. String broken at 3, leaving a 10-pin on the right lane. He's had a minor complaint this week, sustained a cold. Should have all gone, right? Now across lane, 10-pin. Good shot. Marking with a spare after 3 strikes in a row. Here's Bo.
Thank you, Chris. Tony Westlake, 2 tough competitors out there, and who would you rather bowl, and what style are you going to use?
Well, it doesn't really matter who I bowl. If I go out and make good shots like I did last week, and hopefully I can get a few strikes, and hopefully I can win.
Sooner or later, somebody's going to stop Pensek. Maybe it'll be Westlake, maybe it'll be Ferraro, Chris.
There's a 5th frame strike for Jim Pensek. Going into the frame, leading by a mere 9 pins, and now with a double up. Here is Dave Ferraro, who can take the lead by 1. Good direct line and a 10-pin. Had a 7-pin earlier. Now the single 10 on the right lane as Tony Westlake loosens up, continues to warm up as you hear other pin fall. So now let's hear what David Ferraro has to say about reasons for a minor slump this year.
Well, in the past years, I had a problem with my wrist. I also had a problem with a groin pull, and I think I just lost my confidence. That's what's keeping me down this year. So hopefully today with a win, I'll get my confidence back up.
Okay. There's a lot of people from Kingston, New York here. Big strike for Ferraro. Coming in the 6th frame. And now Pensek back, strike up. Can increase his lead again to 20.
Jim Pensek, in that 12-game streak he has going, he has averaged 224, and his opponent's just 201. As you see the overhead shot, the angle the big hook ball player is playing. From the left side over the 3rd arrow.
Didn't trip the 4.
Pensek with that 224 average for his last 12 games in the championship round was bowling league this year before he came out on the tour. As you see his ball going a little high, leaving the 4-pin. His league average was 253 before he came out here on tour, Chris. So I think his team might miss him a little bit back home.
Missing the 4-pin. Big iron.
Well, he picked up a harder ball to go with the 4-pin, and we said there's oil on the left side, the last 8 boards, and he just doesn't have that ball turn over and just slides right by the 4-pin. And the first major error that Pensek has made today, he has opened the door for Dave Ferraro. Ferraro was trailing by 9 pins. Sitting on the bench, he takes a 2-pin lead. The value of making marks, so important in match play.
7th frame. Undaunted, because of the error, he's right back in the pocket with a booming strike. We're in Atlantic City. This is our 2nd match.
At BIC, we sympathize with the ways that you pull and stretch your face in search of a better shave. That's why we've created the BIC Metal Shaver. The patented BIC Metal stretches and smooths your skin thanks to its unique metal guard bar, so the shaver glides closely and comfortably. So instead of stretching, start reaching for a BIC Metal Shaver. It stretches your skin for a great shave, and that's no stretch.
There's something new coming to you from Budweiser. Something smooth, cold, and refreshing. New Bud Dry. Cold filtered for smooth draft taste, and dry brewed for no aftertaste. So if you're looking for a beer with smooth taste and no aftertaste, look no further. Try Bud Dry.
WBA middleweight champ Mike McCallum meets top contender Michael Watson, plus the Bluegrass Stakes. All live next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Boxing from London, racing from Kentucky. Good 1-2 punch. Here's a guy that now has the lead by 2 pins, can increase it to 12, Dave Ferraro. hit, leaving the 4. We're at the Showboat Lanes in Atlantic City, New Jersey. We're in our second match. As you see, Antoinette Secreto and Gloria Ferraro, Dave's grandmother and his wife, who calls David Salt because he salts away money.
Not a bad habit to have, huh?
Not a bad attitude or nickname to have.
Dave's father was a harness race driver, Chris, as we know we have racing on following us in Wide World of Sports. And I just have a couple of tips for you, Chris.
You do?
Summer squall will either be wire to wire, and if anybody else is going to be there, be unbridled, who will be a good closer.
All right. Dave Ferraro striking in the 8th frame. Now Jim Pensack, who has a strike up, he'll be shooting in the 8th frame.
Big shot for Pensack. Remember, 12 victories in a row in the championship round. Nobody has ever had that many before. He now trails by 2 pins. He had an open frame. He missed the 4-pin here in the 6th. Needs some pressure, put some pressure on a very tough clutch player, Dave Ferraro. Key shot.
Is there power on that 16-pound ball or not?
Well, he's riding the crest. Inside shot sends it almost out to those last 5 boards where it would have slid by and left at best a 2-4-5-8. He just menages it into a strike, gets the lead back, can extend to 18, 9th frame. The match is far from over.
The 2 previous telecasts, he has always finished strong. Maybe weakening in the middle, but always strong at the end.
Carries the wall shot. Ferraro now up in the 9th frame. He knows about racing. It's time for Ferraro to go to the whip right here. Trails by 18. Needs to put some pressure on.
On the stretch drive, Dave Ferraro has doubled. He has cut Pensack's lead now to 8 pins. The winner will go on to meet Tony Westlake, and then our tournament leader, Purvis Granger.
Dave Ferraro, one of the best performers in the 10th frame of all the players. So when he had a chance to win in Cleveland, he threw a double in the 10th to beat Brian Voss last year, and he is very tough. As an interesting adventure tomorrow in sports, Chris.
Yachting, whitewater rafting, skiing. Yes, the great outdoors. 3 Eastern, 2 Central, and Pacific tomorrow. Bad leg of David Ferraro's venture with the 10-pin on that left lane.
Just, you want a better result getting a strike, but you can't throw a much better ball. Watch the 6-pin, the 2nd pin on the right-hand part of the screen, just accelerates itself around the 10. Look at Ferraro's game. Strike, 7-pin, double, 10-pin, strike, 4-pin, double, solid 10. The best he can bowl is 218. It would be feasible that he could have had 10 strikes in a row and a potential 300 as well as he's bowled. He's left himself in a position where he has to hope that Jim Pensack opens in order for Ferraro to win the match.
Loser of this game gets $7,000. Hugh Miller, who lost to Pensack in the first game, $6,000. So it's a 217 for Dave Ferraro. Now it's up to this man, Nelson.
Pensack just needs a mark of any type. Strike, it's an automatic winner. A spare and a decent count.
Not yet.
For Jim Pensack, he needs to make this spare and then just get 2 pins. 2 pins are automatic. The spare would be victory number 13 in a row.
Remember, he missed the 4-pin earlier. Okay. Fans starting to get behind Jim Pensack here in our second game. Big and burly. Never played football, however.
Probably why he has such good knees at the foul line. The big guy gets down, plenty of leverage. He'll have a tough semifinal match, though. Tony Westlake.
Another 4-pin, but a big 225 for a second-time winner today. 14 straight wins on television, 225 to 217. Following a break, we'll be back with Nelson Burton Jr., and his tip today will be live. And after that, the match Westlake and Pensac. Stay with us. We're in Atlantic City.
I remember when I was a young man, my father telling me about the Acoma Indians. Their culture and history were one of America's greatest glories. Well, now I got the time to see it for myself. Of course, affording it's another matter. I wasn't sure I could make it, but AARP helped with discounts on hotels, motels, even the car I rented. So here I am. And you know what? My father was right.
AARP, making a difference.
Maybe the reason more people switch to Glidden than any other paint in the last 5 years is because the end result always looks so beautiful. So beautiful. Glidden, a better way to paint.
I used to have dandruff, so I tried Head & Shoulders. Then I tried Selsun Blue. Blue is better.
Selsun Blue relieves dandruff flaking better than Head & Shoulders, and doctors recommend it more than Head & Shoulders, Denorex, and Tegrin.
Blue is better.
Selsun Blue.
Okay, Jim Pensac, another victory, his second here this afternoon, 225 to Dave Ferraro's 217. Time for the tip of the week, and for the first time in 15 years, Bo Burton, his tip of the week, live. Good luck, Bo.
For the past 15 years, we've been doing bowling tips, and not much has changed in our game except two main things. Number one, the bowling ball. It's gone from rubber to plastic to urethane. And number two, the bowling lane. We've always had wood lanes, but more and more synthetic lanes, such as we're using here at Atlantic City, have come into being. Now, the synthetic lanes are a little bit different from the wood lanes. Number one, they're only about 1.5 inches thick. And the arrows, the dots, and what looks like boards are not really boards or arrows or dots at all. They're just a photograph in the lane. The lanes bowl quite a bit different from the wood lanes. Now let's take a look at Mike Alby's winning shot last year here at the Showboat Lanes. Mike Alby uses just a nice, easy style, but watch his release. He rolls the ball very smoothly at the foul line as the surface is very slick. Alby just rolls it at the foul line, very little loft at all. Now let's take a little shot, and I'll try one just like that, what Alby used last year. Well, obviously my ball hooked a little bit too much. The lanes last year here at the Showboat were very slick and oily. This year they're much drier. As you see the players lofting the ball way out over the lane. So the key to this week's tip is very simply this. On oily lanes, roll the ball at the foul line. On the slick lanes, whether wood or synthetic, loft it way out over the line. Let's try one. This'll work. This may, well, I'm going in the announce booth. These guys will do it real well out here on the lane. Remember, the tie got in the way anyway. So remember, our bowling tip, when the lanes are dry, loft it over the lane. When the lanes are oily, roll at the foul line.
ABC Sports brings you the ultimate bowling home video.
Now, let's get on with the action.
Learn how to fix your problems the right way. Improve your game strategy. And practice smarter. It's Bo Burton's instructional video, Score More. Just $24.98 plus $3 shipping. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
We're back again live here at the Showboat Lanes in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Fourth consecutive year we've been here, and Tony Westlake now is Jim Pensac's third opponent of the afternoon in the pivotal semi-final match. And then following it will be our tournament leader, Purvis Granger. Well, Bo, very well done. The championship form was there, and the result wasn't bad at all.
Well, as I said, Chris, the lanes are a little bit drier, and I lofted the ball a little too much, so I didn't get any hook at all. As our players continue to warm up before the championship, or the semifinal game, which should be a very tough match. And we have just 2 weeks left on the Winter Tour, the Hartford Open next week, and then the third jewel and Bowling's Triple Crown, the Firestone Tournament of Champions, always the best one on the tour, April 28th.
And, of course, don't forget that Wide World follows us, a World Middleweight Championship bout as we look at the size of the field, 160, and the top 24.
Some of the top players, Monticelli, 5,000, Schaefer, Tommy Baker, really on a good roll. Lawrence has won 2 tournaments this year. Adcock and Hoskins. Hoskins, the Rookie of the Year, made the championship round here 1 year. Palumbi, U.S. Open champion. Aboud, good player, watch for him. Moser up there. Curtis Odom made a big charge the last day. McCordick, the 300-man. Brian Goebel, watch that guy. He's been there every week. Charlie Standish. Jimmy Johnson, the 300 player. Bob Warren Jr. Kazuski, 21st place. Bowers had a terrific run, 22nd. Joe Furpo, $1,450. And the great one, Mark Roth. And there's our wonderful trophy for the new champion.
Okay, and other New Jersey bowlers, they're regulars on the tour. Parker Bone III finished 32nd. Sam Macarone, 46th. And Hall of Famer John Petraglia, 103rd. Tony Westlake and Pinsack have completed now their practice shots. And we go into the semifinal game. Pinsack up first. He won the first match 238 to Hugh Miller's 209. Then eliminated Dave Ferraro 225 to 217. Shooting first on the left lane. Another 4. Had one and missed it in his last victory.
Lucky to get away with that, too, Chris. Ferraro bowled just a terrific game. Pensek obviously bowled a good game, too, but he's got all the breaks going for him. 13 straight wins.
Boy, he made sure that time. Got just a wonderful attitude. Tough competitor. Remember, 14 straight victories under the lights and the pressure of television. Jim would like to have 14. He has 13. So he has an opportunity here, but Tony Westlake, let his presence be known. What's this form?
Westlake's form very similar to Dave Ferraro's. Very short 5-step delivery, keeps the ball on line, good follow-through. He trips the forward, gets a good break, and I'll tell you what, Pensek snuck by Ferraro. He's got another real tough cookie here in Tony Westlake.
Leaving a 10-pin, the young man from Edmond, Oklahoma, making his 3rd television appearance, and 2nd in a row last week in Indianapolis, finished 4th in the United States Open.
Really likes this championship pair as he bowled 279 and 237 his 2 appearances in the 42-game format, a 258 average.
Just does get it. Now Pinsack, who marked with a spare in the first frame, covering a 4-pin. 2-time winner today.
That 9-0, that's this year. He finished last year with 4 straight victories in singles competition, so he's got 13 in a row. That is definitely a record.
There he's back. He won the PBA National as a 4th seed, and then the next week in the Budweiser Open in North Olmsted, he was the 3rd seed. Well, the #1 challenger, a middleweight named Watson, is going against Mike McCollum today on Wide World of Sports.
Chris, McCollum 33, Watson 24. Who do you think's going to win that? You're the expert.
McCollum, 33 years old, only 1 loss. Both are heavy punchers, solid punchers, but I like Eddie Futch, the trainer who is in McCallum's corner. In a bout like this, outside the limits of the U.S. of A., I'll take McCallum.
Okay, even though the Watson's from England, the scoring is in England, the match is in England.
And another error. Got by with it in the last match, Pinsack.
Can't miss spares and get away with it forever. Pensack, as he hits that That oil, we said, it's on the last 5 boards. You cannot play a hook ball at the 10-pin or even the left-hand corner spares on the Professional Bowlers Tour oil pattern. Watch Westlake jump right on top of it.
That he does. Tony Westlake now managing himself. He was started by Richard Altman in Edmond. In fact, Dave Ferraro's brother Steve wanted to manage him, and Tony says, well, I'll try it on my own, and he's having a good year.
Richard Altman, his sponsor, will be hosting the final telecast on ABC this year, July 28th, Edmond, Oklahoma, as Westlake can take a 22-pin lead. Unbelievable. Every time that somebody's had a chance to really put Pensek in the rears in a match, they leave a solid 10, they get an open frame. It happened to Ferraro once again. Look at so far Westlake's game. Strike a solid 10, strike a solid 10. Pensek, who has been all over with his spare shot, will only be trailing by 12 pins.
All right, we're in our semifinal game of the Atlantic City Open at the Showboat Lanes. More following this message.
10 years on tour, he finally won his first tournament earlier this winter. He won again today.
No.
Here he is knocking on the door.
The thinking that went into your Firestone tires took a lot of different tracks. At the toughest tracks in the country, we run in all sorts of competitions. We race a lot. We learn a lot. And it all goes into every Firestone tire we make. Firestone. Watch us. We're on the move.
Got Firestones again, huh? I've got a one-track mind.
Your wood trim is going. Your paint is why. Because most premium paints aren't formulated to stop moisture damage. And before you know it, your wood trim is gone. You need Rust-Oleum Wood Saver Trim Paint. Formulated with Teflon and other ingredients, it forms a superior barrier to resist moisture. So don't wait. Replace your paint. Or you could replace your wood.
To become a basketball legend, the first step requires hard work, but the second step is pure fun. The McDonald's All-American High School Basketball Game tomorrow on ABC Sports.
Yes, an opportunity tomorrow. And those are the folks lunching with the pros, about 750 who couldn't get into the bowling lanes themselves, hosted by Chuck Pisano and the bowlers Tom Baker, Randy Peterson, Petraglia, Billy Allen, Tita Semez, Mark Roth, and Joe Berardi. What a lineup.
And one of the fellows who almost made the TV show, Amleto Monicelli. Now, Jim Pensek trails by 12 pins. Remember, he has 13 consecutive wins on TV, 4th frame.
There it comes.
Pensek, who in the off-season has done some television commentary for the local amateur circuit in the Cleveland area. He says he really enjoys the job. And you see the angle that he is playing. He's playing the deep inside line, staying on the left side of the approach. He'll slide in this area, and he'll roll his ball right around the 3rd arrow. He's the only player playing the big hook. He's undefeated today.
There's that 4-pin showing up again.
Kind of spreads his hands in dismay as he says, wow, I threw that ball so well, and it drifts a little high for the 4-pin. That's the reason the down and in players like Ferraro, like Westlake, and like our tournament leader, Purvis Granger, have a slight edge. You can't play the big hook today. He's got a tough match here with Westlake. See what happens to the big hook ball in this type of lane conditions we described at the top of the championship round. If he gives it plenty of room, it slides out in the last 5 boards. And there's not a heavy concentration of oil in the center, so it goes high when he goes up at the pins. Or a player like Westlake can go right at the 1-3 pocket.
All right, Westlake with a strike in the 5th. Earlier, we had a chance to ask him if he was underestimated by his peers and fans.
Well, I think I have the respect of my peers, but due to the fact that I hold my emotions in and I don't run a lot of shots out and jump up and down like a lot of guys, I think that hurts my image a little bit in that respect. But I have to do it the way I've always done it so that I can concentrate, and I'm just going to have to remain to be the same bowler I have been.
The ability to concentrate, he has that. He's proven that. He was 5th at the Fairlanes Open, 4th in the United States Open last week in Indianapolis.
And he finally shows some reaction here after leaving 2 solid 10 pins. He knocks the 10 out on a perfect hit, and he reacts to that shot. He now has a 22-pin lead. Time for Pensek to get going if he's going to extend his streak to 14 straight wins.
Okay. A moment ago, we flashed up McDonald's All-American High School game at the Hoosier Dome tomorrow here on ABC. I have a little tip everybody should watch. A player named Damon Bailey from Indiana. An incredible, rather at Market Square Arena, not the Hoosier Dome. I guess we were thinking a great night we had Saturday night at the Hoosier Dome was Willie Nelson, Dwight Yoakam, Carl Perkins, Bo.
Willie Nelson, who helped you open the telecast last week, the U.S. Open, and we just had a wonderful time at the Farm Aid, just the 6.5 hours of entertainment. Chris Christopherson, very congenial. Everybody treated us nicely. Now Pensek trails by 22, needs a strike in the 7th.
Look at that. What a finisher this guy is. What a competitor. Don't go away. We'll be back.
This is the best, and we got it right here. Nothing beats the Bud, yeah, nothing beats the Bud, yeah, nothing beats the Budweiser. Nothing beats the Bud.
Red Devil enamel. You can always count on its durable finish. Harder than ordinary paints, its beauty lasts and lasts. Red Devil enamel for the finish of a lifetime.
You haven't got half the parts I need.
How about a nice, tasteful hood ornament?
No, actually, I was looking for
something in an air freshener.
At Big A, we take our customers seriously. Our nationwide parts network helps make sure we have the parts you need when you need them.
Bowling's top money winners go for the Capitol in Connecticut at the $140,000 Greater Hartford Open next Saturday on ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour.
Windsor Locks next week. We're in Atlantic City. Our host, Al Hoff, Vice President of Showboat Sports. Now Tony Westlake, double up, leading by 12. And a 10-pin. Sort of acknowledged it that they knew it was going to happen.
Well, you get feeling like that when you're bowling against a hot player like Pensek. The only ball that wasn't perfectly solid in the pocket for Westlake. He doesn't carry what we call the weak 10 or the soft 10, the 6-pin. Not enough impetus up there to smack the 10-pin in the middle of the belly and knock it over.
Westlake has a victory at the Greater Hartford Open, along with his other win, his second win of his career at El Paso. Now he's trying to win his 3rd here this afternoon.
Westlake playing the down and in shot, and you'll see a tremendous difference between the way he's playing the lanes and his opponent Pensek. He's standing right about in the center. He'll slide right about the 20th board, and he'll be right over the second arrow with almost a straight shot.
8th frame and a 7-pin.
He's got to say, why me? You know, he bowled an excellent game against Columbia last week and didn't get anything for it. And this week, he has been in the pocket every shot. He's just bowling 208. And if he converts his spare and Pensek comes up and strikes in the 8th, it'll be all even.
Last night, he led Purvis Granger by 24 pins entering the final game, but dropped to second, 233-206. So the past 24 hours haven't been really to his liking, but the game is not over. And Westlake still has a 10-pin lead, but that can be erased with a strike in the 8th, Pensek. like that. Stringing 3 here. Frames 6, 7, and 8. Pensac. Moving over to the left now for the 9th foundation.
Match all even. He just believes he cannot lose. Remember, that's still a very tough competitor sitting on the bench. Mr. Tony Westlake, Mr. Clutch, if you ask the players out here on the tour. Don't give him any room, he'll get you. For the lead, Pensac, 9th frame.
4 in a row. Pensac, who won our first 2 matches, if you just joined us, here at the Showboat Lanes in Atlantic City. He eliminated Hugh Miller, Dave Ferraro, now against Tony Westlake.
The emotion, determination of the big guy. He just saws that rack up. He's now put the pressure on Westlake, who we know can perform in the clutch.
And again.
Tony Westlake in the past 2 weeks has thrown every ball in the 1-3 pocket and doesn't have much to show for it. Last week against Brian Voss, he lost 257 to 204. Put every ball in the pocket. He's doing the same thing today, and he's only going at a 207 pace, but the match is far from over. Now to set up for what Westlake must do, a strike in the 10th, 11th, and 12th frames would give him 217. That would force Pensac to strike in the 10th frame for an outright victory. We have a possibility of a tie.
Sliding by that pocket, which he's found all along, leaving the 2-pin.
Very surprising. I would put Ferraro and Westlake as one of my 2 players to throw a strike when I needed it. Westlake would put 9 straight balls in the pocket, slides by, gets a 2-pin. He'll convert the sphere, he'll be in the 2-0s, and force Pensac to just mark for the match.
Similar situation that Jim had against Dave Ferraro.
Well, if you're a numbers person, yesterday was Friday the 13th. Pensac's won 13 straight. All he needs is a mark, and he'll go on to victory 14.
Very disappointed, Tony Westlake, and we understand that because Dame Fortune hasn't been on his side this far this year, because this is his 3rd telecast.
Pensac, any kind of mark, strikes, automatic, spare, and any decent count. It'll be victory 14 in a row, and he'll go on to meet Purvis Granger for the title. Tell you, Chris, you don't know how close he came to leaving a 4-9 split. That ball cut through, and I'll tell you, that 9-pin, just watch the 9-pins hidden behind the 3. Look at that 9-pin almost get left standing. And remember, he missed his 4-pin in the previous match. If he misses it here, he loses.
Plenty of preparation. Good execution. Jim Pensac. Weighs in at 195 pounds on that 5-foot 10-inch frame. Westlake, 5'6", 175. Okay, 3 matches, 14-0 on television since late last year through this moment. We'll be back with the final match after this.
Nothing hurts a bowler's performance like an out-of-balance ball. That's why I teamed up with the people at Ebonite to develop the Thunderbolt Dual Block. Its patented weight placement system has a dual weight block to offset the weight we move by drilling with incredible precision, making every roll more stable, every impact more powerful.
The Thunderbolt Dual Block from Ebonite.
For great personal service and low everyday prices, check the lineup at your neighborhood True Value hardware store, where you can choose this Green Thumb shovel or bow rake as the April True Value of the month. If you weren't born with a green thumb, now's the time to acquire one. This round point shovel and welded steel rake are made to last and last. And they're each just $6.99 in April, where you see the banner at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Sunday, the network television premiere.
Who are you?
Bond, James Bond. The Living Daylights. Brace yourself. Sunday at 8:30, 7:30 Central.
The Flea Marketeers and Carlisle Productions and Old Milwaukee Beer presents Spring Carlisle 90 Collector Car Flea Market and Corral April 19th to the 22nd at the Carlisle Fairgrounds. Over 1,750 antique, classic, and special interest cars for sale. Many from southern and western dry climates. If you already have that special car, you can shop over 8,000 exhibit spaces full of parts, accessories, and memorabilia. Come to the Carlisle Fairgrounds April 19th through the 22nd for Spring Carlisle 90.
Once they were free to roam the open range. Today, these creatures survive with man's protection. From a dramatic showdown between wild stallions to the secret den of the rattler. Discover the American West of the coyote, mustang, and rattlesnake. The animals nobody loved on the best of the National Geographic specials.
It's all coming up tonight, beginning at 7, here on 27 WHTN. Meteorologist Rob Dixon, tonight at 6 and 11 on 27 News.
Frank Gifford once again from New York. Now, don't forget, coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, WBA middleweight champion Mike McCallum defends his crown against the #1 ranked contender, Michael Watson. You'll see it live from London. Plus, the Bluegrass Stakes featuring another top Kentucky Derby contender, Summer Squall, and that'll be live from Lexington, Kentucky. But right now, let's return to Chris Schenkel and today's final match. Chris?
Thank you very much, Frank. And Jim Pensack, who looks like a football player but never was, showing his bowling prowess. He has now won 14 television matches, 7 strikes in his victory over Tony Westlake, 217 to 206. These are young professionals. There are some young amateurs that get our pat on the back, the young strikers. Collegiate Bowler of the Year, Carolyn Doran. And here's Bo Burton with this lovely young lady.
Thank you, Chris. Carolyn Aaron Doran, the first lady to bowl 300 here at the Showboat, and a college All-American. You've graduated from West Texas State. What are your intentions now, Carolyn?
Well, I got some great college experience going to West Texas State, and I'm going to be leaving next week to go on the Ladies Pro Tour. Give that a shot for the year and see what happens.
Have you thrown any balls on the Pro Tour yet?
Yeah, I went out on the winter tour and I cashed, but I wasn't as consistent as I would have liked to have been, so I worked on my game and hopefully it'll pay off now.
Carolyn, I'm sure you'll do very well, and we'll enjoy the championship match. Chris Schenkel, they're ready to go.
Congratulations to Carolyn here in this holiday season. We wish everyone a happy Easter, happy Passover. Because now we go to that final match, 28,000 to the winner, 14 to the runner-up. Here's a man, wherever he finishes in this one game after 3 victories, will take over the money lead from Amleto Monicelli. Jim Pensack, Mayfield Heights, Ohio. Consistent and tough. Purvis Granger, his opponent. Quickly made his presence known. Now look at the 5'11" 150-pound, 25-year-old Purvis Granger, a native of Lafayette, Louisiana. Now living in Columbus, Ohio. What a follow-through, Bo.
Great shot by Purvis Granger, opening up in his 9th championship round. Has failed to see the winner's circle. He's not eligible for the Firestone, as you see pretty much of a conservative form. Inside-out swing, ball right over about the 11th border, second arrow, perfectly solid in the 1-3 pocket. And definitely the underdog in the match as he's going against Jim Pensack, 14 straight wins, shooting for his 3rd title on the Winter Tour. Mark Roth holds the record with 4 titles on the Winter Tour in 1978.
Oh, that top seed tournament later. Beautiful strike. Effective. Now Pensack, who opened with a strike, he'll be shooting on the right lane. Since we have a World Middleweight Championship, there is Jim's wife, Liz. I want to wish a friend of mine, former World Middleweight Champion Rocky Graziano. We hope he's comfortable and will recover from a stroke. Suffered last weekend. He's at New York Hospital. And one of the most colorful and dynamic fighters that ever happened. We wish him well.
I'm sure you'll recover, Chris, and I'm sure he appreciates that. Now, Pensek, 2 in a row, going for 3.
And on the left.
Pensek, who comes from a bowling family, his brother David shot his first 300 game the same day that Jim shot one last year. As you see the bowels of the bowling lanes, there's 21 pins in each rack used by the PBA. 10 in that deck that you look at below, and then 10 in what they call the turret, ready to go.
Applauded himself for covering the single 10 pin. Meanwhile, the tournament leader, incidentally, in 13 tournaments thus far, the top seed has won 9 times. Concentration broken.
And how has Purvis gone? First 3 rounds are qualifying. He was first, third, first. That's 18 games. Then 24 games of the finals. He maintained first place, was never really headed into the championship game. And what Purvis is waiting for is we have a breakdown lane 49. The rake is what we call it a 270 position. It's ready to sweep off. It's kind of stuck. Somebody giving a little kick there, and now she's working.
Still smarting, Bo, from your live tip of the week.
Yeah, it won't hurt much from that. Dale Eagle on the bubble at the Firestone. Purvis needs a win to qualify.
Look at that. Like he has a string on that bowling ball. His wife, Becky, native of Columbus. Thus, the Grangers live in the capital of Ohio.
Had a great tournament there in Columbus earlier in the year.
Adlers were great hosts at the Palace.
Well, Purvis Granger, he has a chance to do what nobody else has done in 14 consecutive matches, is put Pensek way behind. He could lead by 21 with this strike.
Ring and 10 from the left lane.
Purvis, who has a record that nobody will break, he's co-holds the record of a 300 tie. He and Norm Duke, 1987 match play, Las Vegas, Nevada. Both shot 300. Was done one other time. Pete Weber, Tom Baker, 300s in Denver, 1981.
This is our championship match for the Atlantic City Open title. We'll be back.
Now, for every time life turns up the heat,
I told you we wouldn't know anybody.
a new kind of antiperspirant, Degree.
Total strangers.
I see that.
New Degree is body heat activated. Every time your body heat rises, Degree kicks in with extra protection. Precisely when you need it most, Degree has you covered.
It's about time.
New Degree protects you most when you need it most.
Own a foreign car, Midas has the right brake parts in stock for practically every foreign car. And our brake technicians are trained experts, so we do the job right and right away. For foreign car brakes, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
I know about little lawns.
Little lawns.
Big lawns.
Big lawns?
Real big lawns. Want to know any more? Ask Ace.
Let me tell you.
The president of the Atlantic City Showboat, J. Cal Housel III. Frank Modica, overall president of Showboats in Vegas. Hope he's watching and enjoying it.
The man, Jim Pensek, trails by 10. Fourth frame, has a spare working. Two and sleeper 8. I was just getting ready to say Jim Pensek has really not made a major error out there in the first 3 games. That time he got the ball towards the center of the lane in the oil and left himself a very tough 2-8 spare. He's got to hit the pin right in the 2 pin, carry out the 8. And here's how it should be done. Ball doing the work on the 2 and carrying out the 8 pin could be very tough on this oil pattern. Remember, the outside boards are slick.
Oh, chopping the 8 off the 2.
Sooner or later, as well as Jim Pensek has bowled, you cannot give top pros open frames. He's had an open frame in each of his earlier victories. He missed the 4 pin, he missed the 10 pin, and now he slides by the 2-8. A tough spare, I agree, but he's given a big opening to Purvis Granger, who needs a win to qualify for the Firestone Tournament of Champions just 2 weeks away.
Like he did in the following the other errors, he comes right back with a strike. That was in the 5th frame. Leaders by round.
Purvis Granger never really headed in the whole tournament. The qualifying rounds, 18 games, match play 24. Granger defeated Westlake in the 42nd game to retain his lead. Now he has to hold it against the very tough Jim Pensek 5th frame.
So now Purvis has an opportunity at the 2-8.
This is the same shot that Jim Pensek just went sliding by, the 2-8. Get the ball right in there, and you will make it if you let it hang wide or go to the left. His wife knows that this is a shot that's given her husband the lead, and he needs to make this to maintain a 21-pin lead.
Nine times Purvis has been in the finals, no victories. What do you have to do today to win? Here's what he said.
Well, the first time I bowled for the title was against Roger Bowker, and the key to that match is I rushed my shot in the 9th frame and left a 2-8-10, which cost me to lose the match. And I think today I'm going to work on making good shots and try not to rush my game.
And that was right after Roger Bowker had missed a 4-pin. He almost left the 2-8-10 again after Pensek had opened.
5th strike and 6th. 4th strike in 6 frames for our tournament leader. Pretty loose. He can be tense and then relax and smile.
2 diametrically different styles. The cranker style of Pensek, the down and in conventional style of Purvis Granger. Pensek trailing by 21.
Now by 11. And cut the lead to 1 on the left lane.
He never really gets himself out of a match. Nobody's gotten very hot against him, as his opponents today have averaged just a little over 210, 210.6, where he's averaged 226 against his opponents. And obviously both these players, especially Pensek, are watching that bowling tip that we did earlier. They're lofting the ball well out over the lane on the dry lane condition.
Now a single pin separates these 2 professionals in the final game. 28 to the victor, 14 to the runner-up, the non-winner. Watch the reaction of Pensek. And the one at Green Bay, Toledo, and North Olmsted. A 4 with a strike up.
Purvis Granger wanted that shot. He left the 2-8 there in the 5th frame. Makes an adjustment to the right on the approach, goes more direct towards the 1-3 pocket. It doesn't set up for him. The 4-pin could have gone, not to be. With this converted spare, he will lead by just 1 pin through 7 frames.
The smiling young man who finds it difficult to find good Cajun food up north. He sustained a speeding ticket on his way from Columbus to Atlantic City. That's all by the boards now. He wants to win his first title here.
We'll take the position of Purvis Granger on the approach. He's right about the center of the lane, which we call the 20th board. He'll slide right about the center, and he'll play a pretty straight shot right over the second arrow or just inside of it. almost left the 8-10 split, a shot we haven't seen since the inception of urethane bowling balls, especially on a pocket hit. Now watch the last pin to fall. The ball hit the 1-3, deflect off the 5, and might not, carry the 8 at the last second. With the old rubber balls, Chris, the 8-10 would have been standing. Urethane has a little bit more power.
Improvement in equipment in all sports.
One time, Jim, let's go.
Well, here comes the 14 victory in a row, man. A chance to start salting away another one. Key shot of the match, all even, 8 frame.
Mayfield Heights, Ohio, suburb of Cleveland.
The power of Pensek. He hits light where all the conventional players, down and in players, are leaving what we call the soft 10. The power knocks out the big 10. Mark Roth, quickly, you're a power player. What's going through Pensek's mind as he steps up here in the 9th frame to take a 20-pin lead?
Just try and go out there and make good shots, continue what he's doing. He's hitting the pocket very well. He just missed the pocket once for the 3 games he's bowled. Just a good, crisp shot.
Well, he followed Mark Ross' advice, but the solid 10, which has really been the reason he's here today. His other opponents, Westlake and Ferraro, left numerous solid 10s to allow Pensek to advance through the 2nd and 3rd matches. Here, in a situation where he could take a big lead, 20 pins going in the 10th, he leads a solid 10. This match is still up for grabs.
One thing about Jim Pensek, he is exciting. Heart beating a little harder, too.
For Purvis Granger, as you see the ball just almost sliding off on Jim Pensek, for Purvis Granger, he strikes here in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. He will lock up the match. Right now, Purvis Granger has a potential 236 with 3 more strikes. The best Jim Pensek can bowl is 235. Obviously, the potential for a tie is there. Pensek has never been in this area before, has never won a title, has never stepped up in the 10th frame with a chance to win. I mean Granger. He's never been there in the 10th. Let's see what he does.
Pin plagued so many bowlers over the years.
Granger just does not quite get enough lift on the ball. It doesn't finish enough to knock out the 4-pin. With a spare, he'll have 216. Once again, Jim Pensek will be in the driver's seat. I have Mark Roth, once again, the announce booth. Mark, you're in Pensek's position. You've won 2 titles. You just need a mark in the 10th frame to lock up title number 3 on the Winter Tour. What's going through Pensek's mind?
Well, it was light up to 2-8 on the right lane. You just don't want to think about the bad shot you threw. You just come back and make another good shot. And left a solid 10 and a strike. Just go out there and stay loose. Try not to do anything extra to the ball.
Purvis Granger, whose best finish was 2nd in the 1988 Greater New Orleans Open. Best finish this year was an 8th.
Ross' advice to Pensek, just stay loose, don't do anything extra. All he needs is a mark. If he gets an open frame, he loses. Strike or spare in good count. It's his 3rd win on the Winter Tour.
Once converted to 7-10. Not like that, though.
Look at this shot. The 5 takes out the 7. The head pin comes back and saws out the 6. And what had been sure doom turns into instant victory for Jim Pensek.
The power of Pensac has prevailed today. As the saying on the tour, Chris, crank to the bank, stroke and you go broke, and that's what happened to all the strokers today, is the cranker prevailed.
Fourth seed when he won the national championship. Third seed when he won in North Olmsted. Fourth seed here, and Liz is happy. Three-time winner here in 1990, Jim Pensac. Hottest of them all. 231 to 215. Let's go back to New York to Frank Gifford.
Thank you, Chris, and another wild finish for you. Coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, WBA World Middleweight Champion Mike McCallum defends his crown against the #1 ranked contender, Michael Watson. You'll see it live from London, plus a Bluegrass Stakes featuring another top Kentucky Derby contender, Summer Squall. That'll be live from Lexington, Kentucky. We'll return to more bowling right after this.
You only have 30 seconds to see 30 years of the best of ABC's Wide World of Sports. Unless you take advantage of this exclusive videotape offer. Brought to you by Budweiser. So look for details and a free poster wherever you see this display. Or look real hard and real fast right now.
I've made up my mind. I'm going to do it. Why shouldn't I? I'm the one who has to look at myself in the mirror every morning. So before I lose another hair, I'm going to the doctor. I know doctors have treatment programs that are proven to work. More guys are trying them every day. I'm not bad now, but I wouldn't mind looking better.
Your doctor can really do something about hair loss. So see your doctor or call this toll-free number.
Here at the firehouse, we always try to sit down and eat a good square meal. But to be honest, we just can't always do it. Sure, we know we still need to get stuff like vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. And we do, at breakfast, in Product 19.
No one food has everything you need, but every Product 19 breakfast has 19 vitamins, minerals, and other essential nutrients. So if you can't always count on eating right...
Lunch? Yeah, maybe tomorrow.
Count on 19. Product 19.
15 consecutive wins in television matches for Jim Pensac, Mayfield Heights, Ohio. 28,000, Granger 14-5, Westlake 85-7 and 6. Al Hoff presenting the check and trophy to a man that has won his third title here in 1990. He is the new money leader on the tour, and Letta Monticelli has dropped to second. 231 to 215, 30 strikes out of 46. Jim Pensac winning the Atlantic City Open.
The Pro Bowlers Tour has been brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Rust-Oleum, when only the best will do. And by new body heat activated Degree Antiperspirant.